I'm not going to sell you something that I wouldn't put in my home unless you're trying to be like budget conscious.
Yeah, that's awesome. So when you're, for anybody, a homeowner who may stumble upon this podcast, I mean, how would a homeowner know? Because a lot of times they're looking at the visuals. They get caught up in the visuals. Two things they're looking at. What does the floor look like? Trying to imagine it in their home, and how much does it cost?
Yep.
And there's very little attention paid, and I'm having these conversations with customers all the time. I have never had a client ask me, well, how good is the locking system?
Yep.
And clearly that's an important thing, both in the installation of the product, especially if they're going to do it by themselves, like you mentioned, and the longevity and the durability of the product once it's installed. So can you touch on that a little bit?
Sure. So one thing that I try to educate the consumer when they come in, because a lot of them go to Home Depot or they go to Lowe's or they look online and they find basically the best price for the look that they want. And a lot of times Home Depot will have something for like $1.79 or $1.99. Then you go look up the specs of it. Well, it's either going to be a 6 mil wear layer, which I wouldn't put in my home. And when I sell somebody, that's what I try to tell them. Like, I'm not going to sell you something that I wouldn't put in my home unless you're trying to be like budget conscious, just trying to turn a house. If you're trying to flip a house and you want to just have the lowest price, then hey, we'll go with a entry level product. But Home Depot and Lowe's they do a good job of marketing and they have good visuals, but their products for the most part are inferior. 6 mil wear layer, the thickness is usually under the 3.5 for a quick, which I found the integrity of the locking system is almost none. The tongues break really easy. It has a whole lot more chance of coming apart because the locking mechanism is just not that difficult. Not that tight. So there's just a whole lot of room for errors that you can't hide. So I tell people all the time, nothing's for free and you get what you pay for what you get. So if you see something that's $1.79 at Home Depot or Lowe's and you're trying to find a visual that's similar and you're going into a retail store and their price is $2.59 or $2.79, there's a reason why. Not because Home Depot or Lowe's buys better than us. It's really not. It's just they've taken a product and they've taken stuff that visually doesn't look like it matters out, but in the structural standpoint, it does matter, and it's gonna, in the long run, they're gonna get what they paid for if they buy something like that.
So you mentioned the 6 mil products at some of the big box stores, and I've gone up against customers who are shopping us against a Home Depot or a Lowe's and trying to explain to them the difference between a 6 mil and a 12 mil product. What has your experience been in terms of like how long do you expect, or what would you think lifespan would be of a 6 mil product versus a 12 or 20 mil?
So one question I always ask is like, what's the lifespan in your home? Do you have kids? Do you have pets? How many people are in your home? And to me, a 6 mil product is going to last in a normal 4-person home with like a small dog. It's probably going to last 5 to 10 years and still look decent. You might notice a little bit more scratching or something like that. But let's just say you have 5 kids or 4 kids and you have a big dog. A 6 mil product is going to be eaten up and it's going to look like a piece of junk in about 3 to 5 years.
Yeah,
it's just not going to hold up. It's just not. The problem with LVT in general is it's kind of like, it was sold when it first came out, like bulletproof, it's scratch proof, it's waterproof, it's this and that, and that's just not the case. And a lot of consumers have a misnomer of, I can put this down and it's going to last forever. And that's what I try to tell them is most people, no matter if you're buying hardwood, carpet, laminate, or LVT, most people are going to get tired of the product the way it looks before it wears out if it's treated properly. So I think the box stores and even some manufacturers now, they really oversell LVT and what it can do.